If you're a smart, strong, successful woman, you're familiar with this dilemma. You're in the 95th percentile of all women in terms of your credentials. And because of that, you believe you can only date the 5% of men who are above you. You know intellectually that men don't date this way that you date, that there are very few men who insist on dating women who are taller and smarter and funnier and richer and more educated. And yet you persist. Finally, when you meet a guy who is amazing but doesn't fit the dream of what you think you deserved, you tend to struggle. Are you settling? What will your friends think? What will your parents think? In this Love You podcast, we're going to explore what matters most in a relationship and why caring about what others think as an adult is even worse than caring about what others think when you're in high school. By now, you should know better. Stick around. I'm Marc, Katz, dating coach for smart, strong, successful women and your personal trainer for love. Welcome to the Love You podcast. Keep listening to learn what to do when you worry about what others think about your guy. When we're done, I'll let you know how you could apply to love you to have a relationship that makes you feel safe, heard, and understood. So, I'm going to tell an embarrassing story. I can't tell if it's more embarrassing about me or about my wife. I suspect it's more embarrassing about me. So, this is when we were first dating 15 plus years ago, and we were out to dinner, and it's a fancy crowd. I don't consider myself fancy. I come from two parents who didn't go to college, Russian immigrant grandparents, that kind of thing. So I got to grow up upper middle class, but I feel like I have lower middle class roots. My wife is decidedly middle class, but we were hanging out with some rich educated folks, a lot of Yale, a lot of Harvard, and they were talking about this thing that they did annually, which is to go to a place called the Renaissance Weekend, which is been around since the early 80s. It's kind of like a TED Talks kind of thing. You're invited to participate, share your expertise, listen to other noted experts, blah, blah, blah. It sounded really, really cool. I still want to participate in one. And so they're talking about this thing, and my wife kind of pops into the conversation late and kind of jumps in where she thinks she should jump in, which is that she loves the Renaissance Fair with the jousting and the turkey legs. And it was embarrassing. I can't put any way to say it. Right? She came into the conversation late. She was a little out of the loop. I didn't know what this Renaissance Weekend was until I had these friends. But coming in from the outside, it was embarrassing. And I throw myself on this sword to admit that I was being an intellectual snob. And it didn't feel good. But I had this moment of like, oh my God, is she up to my level? Again, I'm not trying to make myself look good here. That's why I'm sharing this story. I coach, right? I'm now on the other side of that all these years later. And I know that this doesn't matter, but when I was in my early 30s, evidently I felt otherwise. So I coach a lot of women who feel that because they, and I'm talking to you, have an Ivy League degree, that therefore he has to. Because you have a master's degree, he has to. Because you ski or golf, he has to. Because you have well-worn passports, he has to. Because you're a vegan with a personal trainer, he has to. Because you make $150,000, he has to. And it's just not true. It's not. I can understand why you like that. I can understand why you find it attractive, but it's not true like it's true that I have two arms. I used to date this way, but I didn't marry that way. Because I recognized at a certain point in coaching other people, right, realizing that I was repeating the same patterns as my clients, that this was something about ego, this is something about narcissism or validation, the idea that your perfect guy is just like you, but without your flaws and with a penis. Isn't that everybody's perfect guy? It's you with a dick and no problems? Sure, of course it is. So what is it that leads women to worry so much about what other people think? Your family, your friends. Because in here, you've been around the planet enough to know, isn't it the most important thing that he treats you well? How you feel around him? that he makes you happy, that he sees you as your best self, that you could relax with him, that he treats you with love and respect, that he's a man of high character who prioritizes you and wants to commit, who's bright and funny and you could share everything with him without fear of being judged. And if that's the case, what do you think it says about you if he's shorter, if he's less educated, if he makes less money? So there's this external component to how we see ourselves in the world and what we think we should be matched with. Right? And I'm not, even in saying this, I'm not judging it. I'm pointing out that it might not be the most effective way to date and that it's inherently limiting. To limit yourself to the tiny, tiny percentage of number of guys who are as accomplished as you are, and sort of keep your fingers crossed that they happen to be nice as well. So I just did a podcast with a woman who's a sex and couples counselor named Caitlin Cantor. It was a really interesting conversation. And we ended up talking about this. It's probably why I'm doing this podcast. And she said she thinks that it's about a feeling of unworthiness, right? That people who worry about what others think are not secure enough. You're basically insecure, right? Not strong enough to handle what other people think. I think there's an angle, but that doesn't really resonate with me. I think it's the opposite. I think you think you're too great. I think you think that you deserve to have someone who is as impressive as you on paper. But as you know, relationships aren't on paper. And there's no evidence that the impressive guy that you sought always makes for a great partner. In fact, there's plenty of evidence that when you marry a highly impressive man who travels all the time, works all the time, right, and gives his opinions professionally and thinks he should be the boss of everything, he's often lacking in some qualities that make for good husbands, but you tend to overlook that because you're attracted to him and his resume. And that's why in Love You, we start with great partner characteristics: kindness, consistency, communication, commitment, and character. And then we back our way into the other ones. The other ones become a bonus. In other words, it's a bonus if he's 6 feet tall. It's a bonus if he makes more money than you. It's a bonus if he's got a great body. But none of those things are the main thing that's going to determine your long-term happiness in this relationship. So, to you listening, if you know this is true, and you do, why continue to care so much about what other people think? Why would you put your embarrassment about others' shallow opinions over your happiness at finding a man who makes you feel safe, heard, and understood, perhaps for the first time in your life, who loves you unconditionally for the first time in your life? I don't have an answer, just have a question. Why do you care so much about what other people think? What effect does it have on you? And if you could turn that off and just be happy in a relationship, would you be happier in the long run? Please comment below if you think you care a little too much about what others think and you're open to the possibility that others' opinions don't ultimately matter when you wake up next to someone who loves you unconditionally every morning for the rest of your life. My name is Marc Katz. Thanks for tuning into the Love You podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click on the subscribe button and ring the bell. Choose all to ensure you get notified when new content comes out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please share an honest review on Apple. More reviews equals more awareness of the Love You podcast and more love in the world. And if you want to have an easy relationship that makes you feel safe, heard, and understood, look for the link below or go to www.evanmarckatz.com to watch my free video on gaining confidence, attracting quality men, and fixing your broken man picker once and for all. When you're done with that video, fill out the application for Love You Live and join hundreds of other smart, strong, successful women from around the world in a coaching community where women like you actually get the love you deserve. I'll see you there.